everybody. This is Krewella DeVille of WriAckRadio. I'm a little hoarse, but I'm still here.
And this is Kaizen could be at WriAckRadio. We live with Mayor Sims at Mesquite Heights City Hall. How you doing, Miss Mayor Sims?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for asking.
And you just want to ask a few questions. Hold on, I'm trying to get baby Aiden under control right now. We got baby Aiden in the studio too. He ain't made his noise yet, but he's here with us.
Yeah. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
You know what? Thank you all for your patience in scheduling me. I know it's sometimes hard to catch me, but you are persistent. I appreciate that.
Not a problem at all. Like, my first question, I want to go into the community garden versus the urban garden. Mm-hmm. And I want you to explain the difference between the two.
You know what? It's interesting because I'm not 100% sure that other than size, right? I know exactly what the difference is. Because community gardens can be small plots. Most times you see them in our area, they're raised beds, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas, and it's basically on one lot. When you get into urban gardens, it's a much bigger, from what I've seen and experienced, it's a much bigger area that they're dealing with. So it might be 3 or 4 lots, maybe 5, put together that encompasses a large space, and they have several things that are growing, not just your base, your fruits and vegetables.
Right.
And so right now in our community, you can have almost either or. It's a matter of organizations or persons getting together and wanting to undertake a project like that.
Okay.
So the average person who has their own home, they can do a personal garden. Mm-hmm. And if they have so much room, would it be considered a urban garden? Like if they had bought an extra lot aside of their house?
You know what? I would probably need to get back with you on that because I'm sure there are specific designations that make it a quote-unquote urban garden, but I'm not quite sure what those are. But my thing is, if it's your space, somebody could have it in their own personal backyard, or like you said, they could acquire another lot. It still would be, to me, their personal garden. If they allow people to come in and utilize that space, or they somebody manage one of the beds or plots of land within that, at that point it becomes a community garden because now you have more than one person operating within that. Whereas with the urban garden, I think it's the size. I really feel like it's the size. But again, I'm not 100% sure on that piece of it.
Okay. And keeping with the food aspect of it, we were talking about the Mesquite Heights being a food desert. You said you're not sold on it.
I'm not 100% sold on the fact that Mesquite Heights is a food desert. Okay. Because many times when you look at food desert, there's lack of access to fresh fruits and produce. Whereas we have access to, it's not within our city limits. To me, that's the only thing, right? When you think about the proximity of Walmart and the proximity of Myers within the, to this community, that's the part that leans me to say we're not quite a food desert because we're not having to travel 20, 30 minutes to get to a viable source for those options, right? And so, and thank God we got our farmers market here now, right? So that offers. We have the aspects of the veggie van that offers. However, we don't have a physical produce building, if you will, that people can access. So, by my definitions or the way I see it, complete food desert, no. Do we lack a physical building within the premises? Yes, we do.
Okay. And let's say, for instance, we did get that physical building, because we were talking about that too. Do you believe that the citizens would rally behind that?
You know what? It's funny, because when we did a survey, probably about, I've been in office now almost 2 years, so maybe almost 2 years ago, the question went out, and it was almost a tie between a coffee shop and a grocery store, right, that they wanted to see within the community. And so would they rally behind it? I would hope so, but we had plums, and it's gone, right? Not necessarily because of what our citizens were not doing or were doing, but do we need a grocery store in this community? I feel we do. You see what I'm saying? I think it would be good when you think about the number of elders or the number of seniors that we have within the community. I see it as a very viable need. would our community rally behind it? I would hope so, right? But sometimes as a community, we don't spend our money within our own community, right? We turn it outside of our community. We need to get to a point where we're being able to turn those dollars within our own community and and find the value in that. And I think once some of that education goes out and we're able to empower our citizens in that way, I think it'll be a much more viable option. Right, because if we put it here, we want it to be sustainable.
Yes.
Right, so we would need to make sure we're able to do that in a way.
And I definitely agree with that as far as keeping the dollar inside our community, circulate within our own community and everything. And you mentioned the farmers market. What are the days and hours of operation for the farmers market?
Right now, our farmers market is open on Fridays from 11 until 5 p.m.
11 to 5.
Yep, and that's the only day that it's open so far. If we find the need to have it open more often, we're willing to do that. But right now, it's just Fridays from 11 to 5.
11 to 5, okay.
Yeah.
And I know earlier, like you said, we was talking. You were saying something about as far as you get tokens.
Oh yeah,
the kids and some of the seniors and stuff. You get tokens.
Yep, there was actually a family that underwrote a private grant that allows citizens to come in and they get $4 in what they call in power produce. So they get these 4 tokens and they can shop with the vendors. Anything that a farmer can grow out the ground, they can use their tokens for. And so right now we have power produce for children as well as one for adults. And so, I mean, it's a constant flow of people coming to use their tokens, even when it's cold and rainy. They're still out there using their tokens. And I'm there at the farmers market probably almost every Friday now because my son has a lemonade stand. Excuse me, and within the city limits, you're not supposed to technically sell on the streets. And so I couldn't have my son selling on the street, and it was against the ordinance.
Right.
So he wanted a lemonade stand, so he and his cousin, we made them go through the whole business structure to teach them entrepreneurship. So they had to write the business plan, they had to figure out their product, they do market research. And so I'm there all the time now at the market, being there with them. But it's a really good vibe of people. I mean, it's like a constant flow. And so because you have a really good cross set, it's exciting to me to see anytime you can get multi-generational together and just to see that energy, to me, that's just something valuable. And it's happening in our farmers market.
Great.
I'm excited about it because our farmers market hadn't been open for almost, 15 years maybe?
A good 15.
Yeah, it was a long time since our market had been open. And so
I'm talking about back in like 98, 99 sometime.
Yeah,
around there.
So I mean, to bring it back, we brought it back last year. Was our first year back, and it's really good. It was exciting.
I was all about that aloe juice in there. So
I
just had to put that out there.
Look, right.
And we at home now, talking about I need to get down there next week
to get that aloe juice.
Oh, don't play. Have you had the cranberry beans?
No.
Oh, baby, that's better than a pinto. Cranberry beans, yes.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yes,
sounds good.
Yes, they are very good.
I want the cranberry beans Friday.
You got it, sir. Now, you had a question about the buildings and things coming here?
Yeah, as far as how do people get information as far as trying to purchase one of the empty lots that we have on downtown, or like empty lots and buildings that we have available in the city?
You know, I would almost say the best place to start would probably be in our inspections department, right? Because they'll be able to tell you who owns the building or who owns the lot, right? Or if the city owns it, or they'll be able to point you in the right direction as to how to get it. Right now, the city owns some property downtown. We have a couple more storefronts. I shouldn't say the city. The DDA owns them, right? Two separate arms. Same body, different part. You know what I mean? But so we only have a couple more parcels down there, but there is a lot of parcel down there that may be privately held. That maybe people need some pokes to get some interest in. Look, let them know somebody interested in on it.
Right.
You know.
I know I've seen a couple spots. I know I want to try to get it.
Absolutely.
Thomas Smith, and he was on I think he's on the DDA.
Oh, yes, yep.
So,
he is one of our DDA members. And, you know, we're doing some really, really good projects down in our downtown area right now. We just reviewed 2 more business plans just this last week for 2 viable businesses to go in downtown.
And he did say that within 5 years or so that the property value was going to go shoot through the roof.
Absolutely,
I think he
is.
said within the next 3 to 5.
You know,
quote unquote, I believe it was. He said 3 to 5, the next 3 to 5 years. So
absolutely, I would wholeheartedly agree with him on that because we're looking at actually investing dollars back into the downtown area. So, like the overgrown trees you see, those are going to come out soon. The light fixtures that you see, those are going to get switched out soon. But really, to make it a more vibrant area is our goal, and just maintaining it. So the upheaved sidewalks, those are going to be eradicated within, I would say, the next year or so. So we're investing a substantial amount of money in the downtown area because that is our business district. That's our viable hub. And we're still a walkable community. We have a walkable downtown still. And we want to capitalize on that. And so we're excited about that.
What about is the Strand building?
Talk to me now. Who you know that know me? They know I love the Strand Theater.
Strand Theater.
I have teared people a million times. I will strap myself to the front of that building before I let them tear it down. Right? Because that's a historic gem in our community. And we need to figure out how to...
rich history.
A lot of rich history, you know.
In the Strand building.
And so there are some proponents who want to see other uses for that space, but then there are some of us that are still very much like, oh no, we can't tear that down. So I'm thinking in probably the next 6 months or so, you may start hearing some rumblings about it and trying. It's a matter of, because it's going to be a large undertaking. It's going to take a substantial investment to get that building back up, and so we're going to need to find the right partners, and we need to do our due diligence around the structure.
I know I
so
got some
we're
ideas
hoping.
for it myself. I had started a business plan for it and everything. I was thinking about turning into a performance art school.
Oh, wow.
Because it's already right here in the heart of this downtown area, you know, and it's already got the history as far as being a theater. And then I just
that would be a great idea.
I guess it was the poet and the artist.
In you.
It just had me think like, well, you know what, that could be a nice little performance art school in the heart of downtown Muskegon Heights,
and you know,
giving back to the community and circulating that money.
He needs to start his business plan.
And you know, and getting the young scholars involved in doing stuff with performing arts. And it was pretty much like as far as drawing, acting, getting some workshops, writing workshops, and all that. So that's a little idea. Ballet,
all of that.
You know, I have to go have my coffee shop across the street.
A little community hub, huh? Look, hold on to that coffee shop.
Wait a minute, that's my business plan that I'm working on now. I am working on that now.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't even going to put that on here. See, I was going to tell her off the radio.
It's all right. The people need to know what's going on in the city.
Okay.
Oh,
the viewers want to know.
Yeah, they do.
There's a lot going on in the city.
I think we should definitely have something to play off of that culinary arts school, because it's been here for a little while now, and we have had some good stuff to come out of there. I see some of the dishes, and I'm like, oh wow. And then we did interview one of the teachers, Damon Armstrong, and he's all about organic food, making it right for us.
Like you said, from the farm,
yes,
from the garden to the table.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
From the garden to the table.
Fresh. Yeah,
farm fresh.
Absolutely.
And his ideas, man. If we could get like a great restaurant down here, and like people coming, like you said, support it.
It's
because
ready.
he had me eating a collard green egg roll. A collard green egg roll.
And should I say I didn't get just to taste that collard green egg roll because somebody ate both pieces.
It was great. It was great.
Wow.
He was like, "Oh, don't fry it. Don't fry your chicken. If you want crispy chicken, 500 enough."
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, flip. There you go. Let it. I mean, because it's a fatty. The skin is fatty in this, so that would make sense. But you think about. I'm just saying, right? Back in the day. Our families, when they cooked, it came straight from the garden.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because they all had gardens.
Backyard,
they would absolutely. If you had greens for dinner, they were picked that morning. They were washed. That you know what I'm saying. And so we've just gotten away from that. But to go back to it, man, you know, look, I'm just gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna have to go buy my greens from somebody because I don't have.